Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I'm back at Jimmy Granger Ford here in Stonewall, Louisiana, and this is the 2021 version of the Ford F-250 Super Duty. And it's the Harley Davidson edition, based off of the Lariat trim level. So we're going to cover everything about what's different here. I've got a couple of videos where I talk about the Lariat and feature all the normal features and functionality you can expect on that trim level. We're going to talk about what the Harley Davidson edition adds. Now, for those who might say Ford hasn't produced a Harley Davidson truck in quite a few years, that is correct. However, while Ford isn't producing the Harley Davidson edition package and adding all of the changes and upgrades to this truck, Tuscany Motor Company out of Elkhart, Indiana has partnered with Harley Davidson to do just that. And it's based off of the Fat Boy Harley Davidson, so you're going to see some of those features and functionality, some of that theme throughout the truck if it's something you're familiar with. So while Ford isn't really involved in this project, it is being done independent of Ford. There are a lot of nice features, a lot of upgrades, and a lot of changes that we're going to talk about throughout the video today. The F-150 that Tuscany started producing with this package in 2020 did have one change that you won't find here, at least not yet. Maybe it'll come in the future, and that is some engine modifications, including a supercharger that puts the horsepower up around 700 for the F-150 version of the Harley Davidson. But that doesn't mean that this truck is hurting for horsepower by any means. We will talk about what's under the hood shortly. Obviously, the Harley Davidson logo is going to be sprinkled throughout the exterior and interior of the truck, and you can already see some of the changes here, not only with the hood. This is a different hood than what you would get on a stock F-250, so that's meant to give it a more muscular look. And you'll also notice the orange accents, not only here on the front end with the grille and the bumper, but of course there's other areas on the truck as well where we'll take a look at that. And like I said, you've got all the same features and functionalities with the headlights, the tow hooks, and on this truck. But I want to cover one thing here, because I know a lot of F-Series pickup owners don't know about this feature. If you look down here at the front camera, to the right of that, if you're facing the truck, to the right of that is a little square. What exactly is that? That's the front camera washer. And your truck may very well have one and you don't even know about it. How do you use that? All you do is bring the camera up on the infotainment screen in the interior and then push the button that you would normally use to operate the windshield washer fluid for your windshield up here, and it's going to spray a stream of windshield washer fluid across the camera and clean that right off. It's very simple, very easy to use, and very effective. Tell me down in the comments if this is the first time you're learning about that. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh yeah, we already know about that. Well, there are a lot of people who don't. And like I said, while there are no changes to the engine, the 6.7 liter turbo diesel under the hood of this truck, of course, is potent. 475 horsepower, 1,050 pound-feet of torque, made into a 10-speed automatic transmission. Obviously, four-wheel drive is available on this truck if necessary. And let's talk a little bit more about what changes you can find as we work our way to the side exterior. And before we move on too much further, one thing I didn't talk about when we were looking at the front end, but you probably noticed it, that light bar on the bumper, that is part of this Harley Davidson package. And if you're looking for where to turn that on, it's not where you might expect it to be. The big advantage of these trucks are the pre-wired auxiliary switches that you'll find on the upper console. That very first one closest to the driver is what you're going to use to turn that on and off. Now, as far as the exterior here goes, of course, you can see you've got the Harley Davidson logo not only here with the functional air vent on the front fenders, got that stripe around here, the trim, and also the 22-inch wheels that are exclusive to the Harley Davidson package on these F-250s. And while there are practically an endless amount of options and features for these trucks that Ford makes available. The only way you can get these rims is to get this particular package on your F-250. Also, the Harley Davidson name right here, the badging on the driver and passenger side doors. And as far as suspension and shock upgrades, let's talk about exactly what you can find there. In fact, I'll show you a quick look of the underside of the truck in case you want to see what that looks like. You will also find an exclusively designed BDS suspension, Fox 2.0 performance tuned shocks. The speedometer is recalibrated, obviously, with this truck being higher off the ground. Tire sensors, all that good stuff for recalibration. The painted fender flares, and of course, when you open the doors, you're going to see these deployable steps here, the power side steps. There actually are lights there as well. Can't see that right now. Probably wouldn't be able to see it as well here with the bright light outside, but you do have those right there. And like I said, you have all the other typical features and functionality, the towing mirrors, turn signal indicators built into the mirrors. You wouldn't believe how often people ask me about that if I don't mention those turn signal indicators. Obviously, they are power folding side view mirrors, all that typical stuff that you would expect to see on one of these Lariat trim level F-250s. Okay, as we work our way back to the bed, you're going to notice the custom painted rear bumper covers, the Harley Davidson cladding here on the tailgate itself, and of course the tonneau cover is part of this package. Let me reach up here and open that up. I'll show you exactly how I'm doing that as far as how that works. There we go. It's a little heavy, but obviously you've got the assist here with the struts to bring that up. And of course you have the dampened tailgate, power tailgate here. I'm going to let that open real quick. Maybe not real quick. It's kind of slow to open. But one thing you're going to notice here, you've got all the same features and functionality on the interior of the bed with the tie downs, with the bed lighting, but you also have, instead of a bed liner, it's actually lined with carpet. That might surprise a lot of people. Tell me what you think about that. Do you like it? Do you not? But here's the good news. If you want to use it, but not all the time, it is removable. I'll just take that up just in this one little area, but this is all easily removable. It is Velcroed in, and that's actually very strong Velcro, by the way, as far as keeping that in place. And you do have, of course, the bed step that you would definitely expect to find here on a truck that is lifted as high as this particular model is. I would not want to have to try and jump in and out every single time. I could do it, but it's definitely a lot easier to use the step here. And for those who might say, man, that's just a lot going on there. How hard is it to put that back in and take it out and all that kind of stuff? Well, the good news is that Ford has numbered everything for you. You've got a number 1 on this button right here that allows you to know to push that part of the handle down, a number 2 right here to fold the handle down and stow it back inside the tailgate. Now, there's not a number 3 on anything, so hopefully you know what to do next, but if you're watching the video, you definitely will. And someone's probably going to say, you don't need to tell us about that. Trust me when I say this, guys. For those who may not realize it, there are still people out there who haven't seen this kind of feature before. So I'm going to put that back up, put the tailgate back up, and bring the tonneau cover back down. Let's take a look at what you can find on the interior of this model of truck. I didn't want to forget about one of the most eye-catching features here, at least for a car guy like myself, which would be the exhaust tips that come with this truck. And speaking of the exhaust, here is an exhaust clip so you can hear exactly what it sounds like flowing out of this particular exhaust system. Obviously, the F-250 on all trim levels with this particular configuration of cab, plenty of space for the rear seat passengers, and the biggest change you'll see here has to do with the stitching within the seats themselves, which really makes a big difference in my opinion. It really sets off the stitching contrast here with these black seats, this black interior. I like that orange, that Harley orange that is stitched throughout, not only here in the rear, but also in the front. And in the interest of fair reporting, of course, you've got a lot of connectivity here with multiple options, 12-volt USB. You'll also got a household power outlet there, dual air conditioning vents, and the rear seats here for a few months from now at least, well, depending on where you might live, are heated. So that's probably not going to work for a lot of people, at least not around here in Northwest Louisiana, for quite a few months. Now, one thing about the heated seats, I do want to make sure that I mention here, just so you know, it's not all 3 seats, it's only the outside seats. This middle seat, well, if it's really cold and you've got a rear seat passenger sitting in the middle seat, well, I guess they're just out of luck as far as having a warm butt during the winter. And one more thing. With this particular truck, you do get the panoramic sunroof, and that's one thing I really like with Ford. The panoramic sunroofs are not small by any means, offering a spectacular view for rear seat passengers. Okay guys, let's talk about what you're going to find here in the front seat. And there's actually a lot more here than what we saw in the rear seat. Let's take a look at what exactly that is. It starts with the custom leather Harley Davidson seat covers, much like what we saw in the rear, the piano black accented dash, door, and steering wheel trim. Give you a good look at how that actually looks on the screen. And you have the Harley Davidson numbered edition console emblem. I really like the way that looks. That just really sets that off, because typically you just have the typical console lid right here. It is a multitasker, of course, acting as the lid for the console and an armrest for the driver and passenger, but I really like that emblem right there. You also have the Harley Davidson branded door sills, the stainless steel gauges, and those Harley Davidson billet racing pedals. And even though you might not be able to tell, you do have deep tinted windows here, so it's not just factory or just stock tint. There is a little bit of addition there. Of course, you can always add to that if you want to. Now, we're going to do something I don't normally get to do. We're going to get my buddy Jerry, who is one of the salesmen here at the dealership. We're going to take a test drive together and let him add some value to this video with his knowledge of this truck. Okay guys, we're waiting to get out on the road. Like I said, this is Jerry. It's the Tom and Jerry Show. Jerry works here at Jimmy Grande Ford, one of the nicest guys I've met in the industry. There's a lot of good folks out there, but I'm going to let Jerry talk a little bit about the truck as he drives it and see what he has to say.
Most definitely, I appreciate that too. One of the nicest guys in the industry. It's a heck of an industry. But here, one thing I love about this industry, with me being a car guy, I'm able to get my hands on things that most Americans wouldn't be able to. This F-250 Harley Davidson edition is one of those things that I've always been in awe about, and actually having a chance to lay my eyes on it in person, and now at this point in time drive one, is such a joy that I probably wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. I've always been a fan of what Tuscany does when they outfit these vehicles, and I'm a Ford guy as well, so I'm in awe right now. Tuscany has been known to do a lot of upfitting and has a lot of trim levels available. They're most famous for the Black Ops edition truck, and as well the Tonka. If you've never seen a Tonka F-150, it's a joy. If you're an old school kid and remember the old Tonka trucks and the old red wagons and things like that, it'll be a joy just to see one of those things. And Tuscany does a real good job of taking these things to the next level with the badging and just overall outfitting it to be a good looking truck as well as useful.
What's your favorite feature?
My favorite feature is going to be, which is kind of awkward, but this one is just very unique. The hideaway stairs, there's a piece of molding that hides the hideaway stairs even more and protects them when you're taking your $120,000 truck out on the road, off the road rather. And I never get it. The Mercedes makes that G-Wagon thingy, $100,000. I think they're closer to $250,000 these days.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. They are all up there.
But they're capable. They're capable. This truck is fully capable. But at the price point, are you really going to go test these capabilities of these things?
Well, I wish we had a place to do that. I don't know if the manager at the dealership, David, would let us do that, but unfortunately we don't have a place to do that. But we can still get out here and talk about one thing I definitely want to mention here about the driving experience. A lot of people look at a truck like this and automatically think, oh, it's got the upgrades to the suspension and the shocks, it's sitting higher up off the ground, it's got those big 37-inch tires on it.
It has to ride rough.
Does it?
It does not. It does not. Good as factory, good as stock.
It's actually better than some F-250s I've driven in the past, different trim levels. It's surprisingly very, very smooth. And what about acceleration? You got your foot on the fuel pedal there.
Over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. 475 horsepower, that's all you need. You can pull the house, you can pull the boat.
That's right. Or you can just drive it around with nothing in it. Lots of great changes here. Now, one thing, if you can answer this, because I don't have the answer to it, I was planning to ask Jerry this anyway. We're going to see if we can stump Jerry. Are there any changes as far as towing and payload go with this package?
No, there isn't any change as far as towing and payload with this package. On the F-150 version of the Harley Davidson, there is. They play with the powerhouse a little bit in the Harley Davidson F-150, 700 plus horsepower, and the Harley Davidson F-150. This, you don't have to play with it. Like I said, 475 horsepower, 1,050 in torque. We have plenty. We have plenty.
And that is a tour of a $113,000 Ford F-250 Harley Davidson edition. Got to say, pretty impressed with this truck. It'll be interesting to see if they make any modifications to the engine for the future, much like they've done with the 150. Tell me down in the comments, guys, do you want to see Jerry in more videos? I thought he did a really good job. Always enjoy talking to Jerry. The Tom and Jerry Show here on Vehicle Visionary. Well, who knows? We could do that. Thanks for taking the time to watch, guys. As always, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. Tell me what you want to see me feature in future videos here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.